My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. That was another solid day of fights. I wish I could say solid night of fights, but it was an early card, but I at least got to live stream the prelims. Either way, I'm going to walk through how we did, our picks, our bets, our Monkey Knife fight, all of that. We'll talk about some fights, and then we will see who won our free DraftKings League, and the winner gets paid because we pay the winner of our free league. If they're a subscriber, they get $15. If they're a member, they get $30. Make sure you go to wewantpicks.com/bets to celebrate the start of football season. They are offering a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. There are no fights next week, but it doesn't matter. wewantpicks.com/bets. Click on the match promo. No code or anything. Just click on the promo, go in there, deposit money. They will match you 100% up to $1,000. You put 100 in, they give you 100. You put 1,000 in, they give you 1,000. Get the free money. It's a temporary, short-term promotion to celebrate football season. Go in there, get the money, and spend it on fights or other sports. But go in there, get your free money while it's there. Don't pass that opportunity up. They're matching up to $1,000. So let's walk through our bets. I'm up, thank God. Every week I'm up for the most part. I've been very, very fortunate when it comes to bets. I have made money every single week. I'm up almost a unit, not quite a full unit, and I'll tell you why. Two reasons. One, my Roundtree Bukakis over 1.5 rounds that got canceled. Meaning I got a refund, so I didn't lose anything. I got a refund because that fight ended at exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the second round. Listen, I'll tell you right now. That fight ended after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you watch the timer when Herb Dean, or I think it was Herb Dean, starts waving his hands, stops the fight, it was after that halfway point. But when they stop the timer versus when he waves his hands, there's some discrepancies there. I guarantee the Athletic Commission knew that the line was 1.5 rounds and said, you know what? I don't want to piss anybody off in either direction. Just call it exactly at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the second round. I guarantee they did that. They're very aware. First of all, betting is legal in Vegas. So they're very aware of the consequences. And honestly, I think I got screwed, meaning I think it went, I did the over, and I think it went over by a second or two. So I think I should have gotten paid. But I am perfectly fine with them sort of taking that stance, calling it a wash and leaving it alone. So I got a refund on that. So I would be up even more. It was minus 120 odds, but I would be up, right? I'd get a full unit back, and then I would get, 80% of a unit as well, profit. And the other reason I'm not up more is if you look here, I have Ludovic Shalinian plus 3.5 points. That is not a bet that you saw earlier in the week. I added that during our pre-fight live stream on Friday. So Friday night, I'm having some drinks, hanging out with you guys. Somebody, I forget who it was, but you screwed me. I forget who it was like, hey, do you think Ludovic would be a good 3.5 bet? And you guys know I love my 3.5 bets. And if you don't know what that is, basically you buy 3.5 points in the scorecard. So if the math is if Ludovic wins one single round, I get paid. I win my bet. He can lose the other two. And I thought there was a chance that Ludovic would use his wrestling, lay on top for a round, and win a round. That is not how that fight went, so we'll talk about that later. But if you eliminate that, and we just go back to the slide that I had on Friday for my final bets, and if you give me the extra second on Roundtree, I'm up a good amount. I'm up 2 units, basically. Almost 3, actually. So, by the way, let me walk through these. I did well. I did really well. I'm proud of myself. Again, every week I do really well with these bets. So, Molly McCann, money line, minus 115. She looked great. We'll talk about that in a minute. Patty Pimblett, I bought into the hype. Got a little dicey when he was absolutely cracked. But he ate it, kept coming, minus 154. I had 2 units on that to account for the fact that he was a minus 154 favorite. I hit that, and we were so high on Derek Brunson. There was no doubt in my mind at any point that Derek Brunson was going to win this fight. We knew. Dana and I were all over Derek Brunson. We knew he was going to win. He looked great. I actually wish I put more money on that, but you guys know me. I'm very conservative with my bets. The Roundtree Bukauskas over 1.5 rounds, I just talked about that. That was a wash. They gave me my money back, so it is what it is. Not a loss, not a win. I missed Aspinall Spivak over 1.5, and it's funny because that was one. If you watch earlier in the week, I was like, I don't know, that's a dicey line. I don't know if I hit that because Spivak took it on a week's notice, and he has a kid and all this other stuff. But I did it. I love the overs on those super low lines. Brunson Till over 3.5. Not quite. Almost hit that one as well. Not quite. And then I just mentioned the Ludovic one. So I missed my round bets. One of them I hit, but the round bets were the issue. My money line was on point. And if you go back and watch our picks, I went 7-2 on picks. I only missed 2 fights. I was wrong about Julian Rosa, who looked fantastic. And who was the other person I was wrong? Oh, Roundtree. I thought Roundtree was going to lose because he came out looking like a dud last time. I thought he was going to be a slow starting dud this time. But he was a killer. We'll talk about fights in a minute. If we take a look here, these are Jacob's bets. Yeah, they're bad. Jacob last week was up like 27 units. This week, I think he blew all of it. I'm pretty sure it's all gone. I've blacked out the units because that's not important to you, right? That doesn't matter. But things not looking so great for Jakey Poo this past week. Got absolutely hammered. And what he was doing, which is, you should never do this while betting. He would lose a fight, lose a bet, and then just double down on the next one. Lose and then throw more money on the next one. So we didn't even cover half the crap that he was doing. But the text I was getting, grays are losses, blacks are refund, and greens are wins. And if you look at the first green here, that's a baseball game. So Jacob did not do so well last night, but he is feast or famine. That dude wins it all or loses it all. I'm pretty sure he'll be eating canned beans for a while after that horrendous night that he had last night. Let's talk about Monkey Knife Fight. So every week you see me. Every week I'm up. I finally lost a week in Monkey Knife Fight. So let me walk you through what I normally do. For me, a Monkey Knife Fight unit is $10. So what I normally do is I have $100 in my account. I do 10 lines at $10 each. Sometimes I'll do $20 on Knockout Kings because the payout's not as good. Then at the end of the week, I'm up money. I withdraw the winnings and I leave 100 behind. This week, I'm down. I only have $90 in my account now. So let me walk you through what hit. Pimblet and Vendramini, less. That hit. 2.5 times was the payout there. So $10 to win 25. Knockout Kings, I had Lungiambula, Till, and Aspinall. I usually put $20 on Knockout Kings because the payout is 1.25. So that hit, $20 to win 25. And then I missed Aspinall, Spivak more, Shore, Shalinian more. And then I had a 3 for 5 times slate that I missed, McCann, Brunson, and Morono. Very quickly, missing the Shore, Shalinian more is so freaking annoying. Jack Shore blew past the more, no problem. Shalinian needed like 10 more strikes to hit the more. And if that dude had any sense of anything, he should have hit that more. I mean, he did nothing. We'll break down the fight, but damn it, did that guy screwed me. I'd be up a unit and a half instead of down 1 unit if that hit because 2.5 time payout. So either way, wewantpicks.com/MKF. They are also doing a deposit match up to $100. You deposit 50, they give you 50. You deposit 100, they give you 100. And there's no strings attached. They give you the free money, play it, and then you can immediately withdraw that money after you play it. Super, super easy. And it's not just fights. There are no fights next week, but we have football. So play some football lines, play some basketball lines, whatever you want to do, baseball. Well, baseball lines are tricky, but play the lines. Monkey Knife Fight, all the sports. It's a ton of fun. Get your free promo and get it now. wewantpicks.com/MKF. Let's talk about the fights. I'm going to hit every single one. There was only 9. I'll do them quickly, though. So Dalcha versus Barriault. I had this read right. I was all over Barriault. And basically my analysis was Dalcha has a ton of power. Dalcha's got grappling. Dalcha's got the judo, but he doesn't use any of those things. Barriault is not as, he doesn't have the power. He's not as good of a grappler, but he uses all of his tools. So that was my read. I had the right pick in Barriault. I will say he didn't even need to use any of his other skills. It was just his volume and forward pressure made up for the Lungiambula's just lack of volume and only wanting to throw big bombs. Lungiambula won that first round because he had 2 takedowns. And then after that, just wasn't mixing it up enough. Would throw big power shots, not much else. Didn't mix it up enough. He needs to start using his wrestling. He needs to use his jiu-jitsu, and he can start winning these type fights. One quick thing that would blew my mind. So he had 2 takedowns in the first round. And he tried after that, but he didn't really commit to these things. But he had 2 takedowns in the first round. At one point, he had a nice front headlock on Barriault. And instead of working the front headlock and turning it into an anaconda or a darce, he had a guillotine and underhook, which is a straight up cement mixer if you know anything about wrestling, and lifted him off the mat, picked him up to his feet, and Barriault was on his feet. Made no sense whatsoever. It was a very bizarre situation, especially for somebody who has a jiu-jitsu black belt. Either way, Lungiambula was Jacob's lock of the week. I didn't think it was a bad pick for lock of the week because he has all of the tools. On paper, Lungiambula is an absolute stud. The problem is he doesn't put it together, and that's the difference between how some of us read these fights. So either way, it was a good fight, an entertaining fight, but Lungiambula just didn't use all the tools in his bag, and that will always be an issue for him until he changes something fundamental about his mindset in those fights. Charles Jourdain versus Marcelo Rojo. This one I got wrong. Only one of 2 that I got wrong on the night. I thought Rojo taking it on short notice. Rojo needing an extra 5 pounds. This was at a catchweight. He needed 5 pounds. I read that as he's not in training camp. He's not ready to go, but he took the fight for the payday and to help the UFC out. But he looked crisp. He looked clean. He landed the shots he wanted to. The analysis on this fight was correct. I just had the wrong winner. The analysis was that Rojo likes to fight at range, keep you at the end of his strikes. Jourdain likes to fight in the pocket, stay inside, make it dirty. And when it was inside and it was dirty, and when Rojo got sucked into a brawl, I felt like he lost those exchanges. But the majority of the fight was at range, at distance. He kept Jourdain at the end of his punches, and he absolutely touched him up. I think he dropped him twice. So Rojo looked fantastic. Good for him. Short notice. Looked awesome. That was a really fun fight as well. Then we have Jack Shore versus Ludovic Shalinian. This was so annoying. So Jack Shore was the pick. He was everybody's pick. So it's not annoying that he won. We thought he was going to win. I did think that Ludovic could grapple, meaning wrestle. He's a phenomenal wrestler. I thought he would mix in some wrestling. He had one sloppy takedown attempt the whole fight. Nonsense, poorly timed, diving at it, and instead decided to keep it a kickboxing match where he was absolutely lit up. And then he let Jack Shore take him down more than once. And when he got taken down, he was handled. Listen, you're a wrestler. You know your jiu-jitsu is not as good. Clearly your striking is not as good. Maybe your plan was I'll strike with him. And then you're obviously losing that battle. You're getting taken down by him. Flip the script. You shoot the takedowns. You control where the fight goes. Being on top and controlling position is much easier than being on bottom, trying not to be submitted by somebody who's much, much better than you. And he had no freaking strike volume. It's not even like he was on his feet coming forward throwing bombs. He barely threw anything. He was swinging at air. And I'm done complaining about Ludovic. And let's talk about Jack Shore. Jack Shore, obviously, we knew his jiu-jitsu was good. His offensive wrestling looked better than I thought it would. I mean, he took the shots. He landed them well. But his striking was really nice. Clean striking. His footwork was phenomenal. He was in and out, side to side, which is why Ludovic was swinging at air. So Jack Shore, real deal, looked fantastic. This was a short notice fight and not the greatest opponent, but no, he's definitely earned himself the attention that he's getting, and let's see what he gets next. Molly McCann versus Ji Yeon Kim. Molly McCann is awesome. Meatball Molly. She was awesome. How fun is she, man? Just marching forward, throwing bombs, just coming forward, bah, bah, bah. Big, heavy punches, nonstop, coming forward, landed when she wanted to. She got a takedown. She got dropped with a headbutt. That worried me at the end of the first because I had Molly money line. I hit it, but it did worry me at first because all you see is her knees buckle and she dropped. She ended up on bottom for a little bit, but luckily the camera showed that it was a headbutt. I don't know what, luckily, but it at least told me like she didn't get cracked. I don't have to worry about that happening again. But she looked good. She came forward, ton of energy, ton of fun, just absolutely wants to brawl. Super happy with how that went. Cashed my money line, and I look forward to seeing what happens to her next. Patty Pimblett versus Luigi Vendramin. I was all over. I bought into the Patty hype. I bought into it. And I said Luigi's a great matchup here. Not great because he's easy. Great to see how good is Patty, because Luigi has big, heavy hands. Luigi's capable on the ground. I mean, Luigi's a well-rounded UFC caliber fighter. Is he top 10? No. But I think Luigi has the skills that he belongs in the UFC, at least going into this fight. So it was a great test for Patty. Patty took a big, big shot. You heard it. Like, while watching that, you heard quack. And I thought he was going to get buckled, but he just took it. He just took the shot, shook it off, kept coming forward, landed his own combination, and then decimated Luigi Vendramin. It's Patty's grappling is the reason he's so good and so highly touted, but he showed his hands off last night. I will tell you this right now, though. If Patty fights somebody with good striking, I'm taking the other person. I mean, Patty keeps his chin straight up in the air. He got touched up by Luigi. I'm probably gonna bet against Patty in his next fight. So I bought into the hype. He definitely has the skills, especially if it hits the mat. But I don't know what it's gonna take for him to put his chin down and keep his hands up, because he got touched a few times, and one of them heavy. So if he fights a good striker with takedown defense, he's gonna have a long night. So he's got some holes. I bought into the hype. I cashed 2 units on him, but we'll see. We'll see what his next fight looks like, and he may be some recency bias there. He'll have awesome odds, and then I can hop on the other side and cash again, except picking against him. Khalil Roundtree versus Modestas Bukauskas. This is the only other fight that I got wrong, so I went 7-2 on picks. Khalil Roundtree in his last fight came out slow, no real killer instinct, and this fight was the opposite. Dude was throwing heavy, coming at it hard. I had a bet. I had the over on rounds, 1.5 rounds. I bet the over. The fight ended by brutal leg kick. They said at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the second round. So exactly on the line. I think the fight ended a second or two later, but the commission hyper aware of what the betting line is. And honestly, the commission probably did the right thing by saying, just make it exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're not going to get yelled at. And I got a refund on the bet. The line is over under, and they don't keep, if they don't let you bet on the actual line, then it's over under, you get a refund. So I got a refund, which is totally fine. But I think I got screwed, but I totally understand what the commission did there. It's almost impossible. Like, when do you declare the time? And it's okay if you miss by a few seconds if it's not exactly at the betting line. But the ref steps in, the ref waves his hands. How many waves? Is it when the commission stops the timer? Is it when the ref steps in? Like, what is the actual time? And I remember that was this whole argument when I forget who it was. Was it the fireman? Lights Out Lytle for fastest knockout in UFC history. It was something like that, where he should have it, but they didn't stop the timer and things like that. So either way, my point is, in this rambling rant, I didn't think Khalil Roundtree would have the killer instinct that he did have. He looked fantastic. He came out there. In this fight, he was everything that we expected him to be in his last fight. I didn't cash my bet, but I didn't lose the bet either. So I'm good with it. Very entertaining fight. And it'll be very interesting to see, if this is a permanent corner that he's turned and he's a killer now, or, it was just a great matchup. Alex Morono versus David Zawada. David Zawada was completely outclassed the entire fight. The whole fight. Alex Morono was a step ahead of him. Alex Morono was my pick. The breakdown was he's got all the tools in the world, and if you look at his highlight reel, he looks like an absolute world beater. And then sometimes he just gets smoked and outclassed, and that's not what happened this time. He looked good. He put it together. But David Zawada, at the end of the third round, shoots a takedown, gets the takedown with ease. And that was the only takedown. And that path to victory was there the entire fight, and he just never took it. So bizarre to me. Never took that path to victory. It was there the whole time. Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Spivak. Listen, Tom Aspinall was the pick. He was everybody's pick. We knew that was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. I bet the over 1.5 rounds here. That was probably a mistake. And as I placed it, I didn't love it. But 1.5 rounds is not that long. Spivak is tough. And I thought he'd be a little tougher. And honestly, he was kind of hanging in there, tying Tom Aspinall up against the cage. I'm like, okay, he'll be boring for a minute, a round and a half, and I'll get paid. And then I don't know what it was, in an elbow or just a sneaky inside shot. You just heard it crack. Spivak balled up, and that was the end of it. Under 1.5 rounds was the bet. Tom Aspinall, the real deal. Granted, Spivak took this on a week notice, flew across the entire world, has a baby at home. There's a lot going against him. So you can't fault Spivak in this loss, but you can give Tom Aspinall the credit. I mean, he took the opponent, and he looked good. Main event of the evening, Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. We were all over this. At least Dan and I were all over Derek Brunson. There was zero doubt in my mind that Derek Brunson was going to win this fight. Zero doubt. And how many times did we talk about he moved to Sanford MMA? Sanford MMA is dragging the wrestling out of him. Sanford MMA is really putting his game together. And yes, Brunson's chin can be suspect sometimes, but now that he's using his wrestling, he's a legit force. Darren Till has good takedown defense, but it didn't matter. Derek Brunson was a step ahead of him with the takedowns, had the explosiveness, and Darren Till is just had nothing to offer on the ground. Absolutely nothing to offer. I mean, that very first takedown Derek Brunson got, he just beat the crap out of Darren Till. Elbow, just beat the crap out of him. Darren Till had nothing to offer. Honestly, lose the weight, go back down to welterweight. You're too small. There's too many holes in your game. Go back down to welterweight and get the matchups you deserve. The guy's a ton of fun. He's super funny. I want to see more of him, but his future's at 170. Derek Brunson, hopefully he gets a title shot, and he's going to get smoked. I mean, he is not beating Israel Adesanya. He's not. If Marvin Vettori couldn't take him down and beat him up, Derek Brunson with his chin is not going to. At least Marvin has a cement head. Derek Brunson does have a chin that's not ideal for a matchup with somebody like Israel Adesanya. So if he gets that matchup, I'm betting Izzy. Izzy smokes him, but we knew Derek would win this one. I'm very interested to see if Darren Till goes back down to 170. So let's take a look at the DraftKings League. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings League for you. It's free. It costs you $0 to enter, $0 to play. And if you win, we pay you. So let's take a look. This week's big winner, Joe Todoro, our good buddy. I already talked to him. I owe him $30. He's a member. He won the league. But he said, keep the money, roll it over to next time. So next time's payouts are going to be double what they normally are. So thank you, Joe, for your generosity. Everybody else should be thanking him too, especially next week's winner. Let's look at his lineup, man. This is a perfect lineup. 6-0, over 100 with Brunson, over 100 with Aspinall, over 100 with Pimblett, over 100 with Erosa. Roundtree, almost 100. His lowest scorer was Jack Shore. And Joe said if he swapped out Jack Shore for Molly McCann, he would have won the big, giant DraftKings tournament, the $20,000 payout tournament. And I totally get that, man. 611 points. This is an awesome lineup. So congrats to you, Joe. Let's take a look at second place. Second place, also 6-0. Had Molly McCann at 92. Here's the difference right here. 87 for Jack Shore, 92 for Molly McCann. Those couple of extra points are the difference between winning a couple grand and winning 20 grand or whatever it is in the big tournaments. This is also a very, very good line. I mean, over 600 points is very hard to do. Very hard to do. I always talk about 50-50s and double ups. Those are 500 pointers. 450 points and above, you'll cash in every single 50-50 and double up. Once you start hitting 5s, 6s, that's when you can take real money home in the big tournament. So great job, guys. Let's look at straight ripping. Yeah, straight ripping. Also 6-0. Also 6-0. You had Roundtree, Shore, and McCann and Barriault are your ones under 100 points. Imagine, I feel for you, man. Your third place, you went 6-0. You still didn't win. How far? Wow, 6-0 and fourth. Finally, fifth place is a loss. Lungiambula, 45 points. Either way, guys, you get better and better. These lineups are absolutely crushing it. wewantpicks.com/DraftKings. Join the free contest. We pay out the winners. If you're not a member, become a member. It's very helpful, and you double your money with your payout. And this week, or next week, there's no fight. So the week after, the next fight night, the payouts will be double thanks to my man Joe. So become a member now. I will not let you retroactively become a member for the payout because the payout's so big. The payout to a member next time is $60. 60. Click the join button under this video. If you win the next contest, you will be paid $60. That simple. Free money, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it. Thank you all for the watch. We have an off week this week, but we're still going to put out a bunch of content. I'll see you throughout the week.